In a newly released report, U.S. intelligence officials say they are confident Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a cyber hacking campaign aimed at undermining our democratic process and hurting Hillary Clinton's chances of becoming president. Now, that report says Putin also had a clear preference for Donald Trump. Earlier, I sat down with former CBS News Moscow bureau chief Beth Knobel about her thoughts on this report and our country's relationship with Russia as we prepare for a new administration. Why would Vladimir Putin want Donald Trump as president of the United States?
Well, he wants somebody that he can do business with. And he's had a pretty bad track record of working with both the Obama administration and with Secretary Clinton when she was in office. You might remember that when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, she wanted to reset relations with the Russians. And so she made this presentation of a reset button to her Russian counterpart, but it had the word reset mistranslated into Russian. And that's sort of a symbol for how the whole Clinton-Russia relationship went. And so in President-elect Trump, Vladimir Putin sees somebody with business sense, who believes in strength, who he is hoping he can actually reset the relationship with. I think the real center of the question, though, is can you have two men work together, one of whom wants to make America great again, and the other of whom wants to make Russia great again?
And that would seem to be at conflict with, although Vladimir Putin may see a little bit of himself in Donald Trump, and perhaps President-elect Trump sees some of the strength that Vladimir Putin has. He admires that. He said that. Wouldn't that make them at odd ends?
Well, there are actually quite a number of places where American and Russian interests overlap and intersect. Both of them want a peaceful Middle East to some extent. Both of them see issues with Islamic fundamentalism and terrorism across the world. Remember, Russia has a very large Muslim population of its own, and it does not want a lot of unrest at home, nor does the American president. There have been areas where there have been great steps in cooperation between the two powers. For example, in space, there is a lot of cooperation. The relationship between the Russian and American space agencies has been very long and very profitable. I don't mean in terms of money, although the Russians do make money from America. I mean, they are astronauts and cosmonauts who work side by side up at the International Space Station. That has been a very good relationship, and a lot of good research has come out in space because of it. So there are lots of areas where these two men may find common ground. But I think what Russia wants is respect. And Putin's whole presidency has been built on gaining respect from the world community. He felt like he has not gotten that from President Obama, and he's hoping he will get it from President Trump.
So that's interesting. President Obama, in Vladimir Putin's eyes, has not given him the respect that he's due. And yet here at home, people feel President Obama hasn't been tough enough on Vladimir Putin. I wonder if part of the attraction between these two men, the president-elect and President Putin, is that when you talk about making deals, in Putin's mind, it means that he'll be able to carry out a very aggressive defense strategy or policy should he want to in the Baltic states, for example, or when it comes to NATO.
Well, I mean, NATO is a whole different story than anything we've seen Russia deal with. So, for example, Russia went into Ukraine and took the Crimea Peninsula and has had a war on and off in eastern Ukraine over the territory where there are a lot of ethnic Russians living. One of the reasons he was able to do that is because Ukraine is not a member of NATO. But those Baltic countries, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, that were part of the Soviet Union, are part of NATO. There are a lot of former Soviet satellite states in Eastern Europe that were also part of the Warsaw Pact and now are members of NATO. And those countries are very worried about Russian aggression. If you hear the presidents of Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, they're very worried about Russia, and they are very concerned about President Trump living up to the promises that America has made, which is that an attack on one is an attack on all.
Yeah, that's, I think, the question that I was sort of driving at, which is he has made, he said on the campaign trail that perhaps the United States wouldn't be as involved in NATO as it had been in the past. He talked about other countries contributing more than what the United States was doing. And I'm guessing if you are Latvian or Estonian, you're probably a little worried by what you've been hearing from the president-elect.
You are absolutely very worried, and I'm sure that the leaders of those countries are looking for their opportunity as quickly as possible to meet with the President Trump and explain to him what's really going on and why they fear Russian aggression so much. One of the things I think we have seen from Trump so far is that when he meets people, it seems to change his mind about who they are. I mean, clearly after he met President Obama, he came away saying this is an impressive guy, that we are going to work together. And so it's going to be really important to see how quickly he's able to meet Vladimir Putin and the leaders of some of the countries around Russia to get their perspectives. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen when Putin and Trump actually sit down and meet.
Beth Knobel, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.